we're here today to review the CEJA reporting system again with Dave Garvey. And I think you all know David, so I'm just going to let David get started.
All right. Thanks, Michelle. Good morning, everybody. We are continuing our review of the CEJA reporting system, looking at where we left off last time. We had a customer, we'd entered through the system, we completed the pre-screening and application along with the career assessment here. This is a new customer I added here, so I'll just quickly fill out some selections here. But the next part we were going to cover was the service needs assessment, item number 3 on the intake page. So when we click this button to select, we get taken to the page here where we have all our different sections and questions for service needs assessment. So for the purposes of time, I don't know if we'll go into all of these, questions that we see bullet points for, but our main sections are accommodations and student services, technology assistance for virtual learning, transportation, childcare, family member care, assistance with housing, food, healthcare, legal assistance, financial literacy, mentorship, application fees, and other support services. And within each section, we have at least one question with radio button selections here. And based on how the question is answered, if they, do, in fact, so for example, this first one, do you need accommodations or other services to help you in the classroom? If no, or not applicable for the program, that's all that needs to be done. But if we select yes, what'll happen here is we got some text here for a well, in this case, if you're an education entity, such as community college with an Office of Disability Services, direct them to this office and follow any procedures to deliver academic accommodations. If not available, discuss the academic accommodations needed and how you will address them. And we have a section here for recommendation to review the local organizations providing disability services. So when you select yes, there is, in some cases, this, text for guidance. In all sections and questions, we have recommendations. And so, after reviewing the text here, you can provide a referral. And you can also offer in-house support for that item if that's something that you're capable of doing. So in this case, we'll say for accommodation and student services, we'll say yes to a referral for here. And when you select the prompt that will pull out this information, there is a section where you can add additional text comments if you like. And so you can enter them there. We'll just enter comment for needs service needs assessment. Okay. And with the checkboxes, you can select as many as applicable. We'll scroll down a little bit further to our next section. And we'll just enter, it's asking for tech assistance if customers have the ability to have internet, computers, instruction, just their familiarity with technology and the availability of it for them. And so if we have, let's say, transportation, do you have transportation concerns that could affect your participation in the program? If we say yes, we get some checkboxes here, select all that apply. So let's say in this case, this customer does not have transportation, but you are able to provide in-house support with public transit fare cards. So you can select that for in-house support as well. So then comment, organization will be providing support for Jason. Okay, so you can leave our comment there. And for the rest of these questions here, we'll just mark these as no, or that we don't need assistance with these areas. Okay, so then once we've filled all this out, click this blue submit button. If you click this return to intake button when you're filling this out for the first time, this will not get submitted. So going through it for a customer, definitely click this submit button here. And when we do that, that will take us back to the intake page. And we can see the service needs assessment that has been completed and on which date. And we can view what we entered by selecting that. Then we can see our answer. So for this first one, we said yes, and the referral, and we can see our comment that we entered here. And similarly, going down to transportation, we see we'll be providing in-house support for the public transit fare cards and our comment right there. So we can return to intake. And I also want to note that if you completed this service needs assessment, but it turns out like, oh, this customer actually also needs assistance with financial literacy. What you can do is you can submit another service needs assessment. So you can click that blue button and then come back in here and let's see, say financial literacy, let's say yes, and provide support service for accommodations in-house. And the comments are optional. You don't have to necessarily enter text in there, but you can. So we'll click submit here. And then we'll see our, we kind of have like a version history of it. So then when we click this second one here, our service needs assessment, we'll see that we are, providing support service in-house for the accommodations. Okay, so we'll turn to our intake page here. And going through the rest of intake, this number 4 customer status applicant, this is, this status is automatically generated by the system. So once we add a service to their career plan, this will assign dates to the first service. They will then be marked as enrolled in the program. And if at any point, the customer declined to participate, you can check this box here. See customer status set. And then that enrollment status changes to non-enrolled, declined to participate. And if by chance you accidentally click that, you can uncheck it too, and it will go back to whichever status was listed here. And then in number 5 here, this is our information comes just a disclaimer of that you've gone over the career plan with the customer, how they can the purpose of it, what making sure they know how to view the plan through their Illinois workNet account, and then it'll be updated as needed. So once that information's been reviewed with the customer, you can check this box here, and then they'll just give a timestamp along with which user or team member check that box. So once we have our intake page, once we've gone through intake, we're now ready to go to the training and services career plan. But just before we go there, I wanted to note on the progress page, since we've made some changes to the customer's intake. So we have, here this was last updated about 7 minutes ago before the webinar started. So if we click this refresh status button, we should see, so the intake flag that went from that updated to green for good. So we've updated that. Referral status based on the service needs assessment that we completed and how we answered questions for that question for accommodations. We noted that we would be sending a referral. And so that gets populated right here in this referral status section here as needing attention. Similarly, if we scroll just a little bit further down to this section here, service needs assessment items and other wraparound services, we see those 2 items that we said we would offer in-house support for, the public transit fare cards and the support service for accommodations in-house. We have that as needing attention as well. And in the career plan, when we are adding and updating services, we'll be coming back to this page to just to show you how you can update it, so you can change this, needs attention flag to a green flag for good. Let's see. And okay, so with the first item, let's do this referral status here. We have the referral tab. Open that up. And we can click the button for new referral. And in step one, we have select organization. So you may have organizations already added, but if not, if this is a new organization you're going to be referring to, we'll click this new organization button, and then we will enter the name. So it's name referring org 2024. And you can, description is optional, but you can add a description in there. But then we also need to add a phone number and then the address information here. And once we've added that, we'll click save. And so that was in the new organization. So then when we go over to the search organization, we'll see the organization that we've just added here. So we'll click select, and that'll populate here. And then we will select an organization contact for step 2. And since this is a new organization that we just added, if we click search, we don't have anybody tied to it. But to tie someone to this organization, the contact, we'll click this new contact button, and that'll open the window here. And we'll enter their name, their phone number, their email address, and their job title. And so then we click save and then go over to search contact. We'll see that this David Smith that we've just added is now selectable. So we got step 1 and step 2 for the organization and the contact. So next we need to identify what service, what item it is that we are sending a referral for. So going back to intake, this was the referral to a disability services organization. And I believe that would be this checkbox here for disability accommodation. And if you wanted to add notes to the referral that will get submitted, you can. So it says text. And once we have all of our information filled out, we'll click submit referral. And an email would be sent to our contact here. So in this case, David Smith. And in the email, there will be a link to respond. And when they receive the email and open it up and respond, the status of it would be updated here. So if we go back to our progress page here and refresh this, since we've submitted a referral since 10:09. This will still show as needs attention because the David Smith still needs to respond to the referral. And let me send a quick note to a contact here to see if they can send me the email. We can continue with the career plan, but they may be able to forward this email in the meantime. Okay. So we'll come back to this this referral here. But in the meantime, we'll go to our career plan since we've completed our intake section, and we can take a look at these services. So we can reach the career plan by selecting on intake, the bottom here, go to customers, training and services career plan button, or we can select the career plan tab up here. Okay. So this is the career plan overview page. So, we've been seeing these tabs, previously on the progress and intake and referral sections here, but within career plan, we have these sections as well. So this plan overview is just kind of the bird's eye view of this customer in the system. Off to the left, we're still seeing their, profile information that was provided that we entered. If we need to reset their password, we can do so. Then we have links to instructions and other participant summary tools here. And then over here, we have our career plan. When you add a customer into the system, we do have goals and services within those goals that are applicable to all customers. So those do get automatically populated so that you don't have to manually enter them. We'll take a look at those in a second here. And then for this assessments and desired career path, these are so with the Illinois WorkNet account, in this case, Jason Board, he can log in and complete different assessments. There's one that we have for the career cluster, and their results would populate here. We also have Employment 101. So when they complete the pre-assessment and post-assessment, that'll be tracked here. And then in Employment 101 down here, this is their overall status of that Employment 101 tool. And then the desired career path, this is also another section, another tool in WorkNet that they can, access and select here. And off to the right, we have accomplishments, as we're updating the customers, goals and services, and when credentials get added into the system, these, this just gets counted right here in this section. We'll come back to the review assessment page here. And oh, got logged out here. Let's see. I was logged in as the developer. Okay, so on our number 3, this is where we're going to be adding and editing services. So just giving a quick look at this. Step 1, this is where we'd be adding services. And so when we click this button here, all the CEJA services, will be populating here. And you can filter these down by, the type of service it is, how it's tagged. Or if you want to do a text search to filter down the results, you can as well. So let's see alumni networking there. We need to look at the barrier reduction service itemized list, which we do because we've added some costs that we're going to be providing in-house. So we're just going to go ahead and click add that. I'm going to add this to our section here. Sure I didn't get logged out again. Another working on updates, this morning. Okay, so let's try that again. Got too many tabs open and one of them timed out. Okay, there we go. So we've added that service here, but so when we add the service, it goes to step 2, where we would assign the service to a goal. And the goals are these purple sections here. So we have one for get a job, get into a registered apprenticeship program, complete training program, and complete digital and financial literacy. And so these are the services that are automatically populating that we can and will be updating. So let's see. Let's update let's do a training service first. So for the training service here, we'll select this first one, employability skills, job readiness training. We'll click the pencil icon to edit. Okay, so then when we reach the service, here's the service for employability skills, job readiness training. Our first tab is the status default tab. Here is where we will assign some dates and hours and the status. So for the planned start date, let's say we enroll this customer today. So let's say the planned start date is today. And we plan to complete this by the end of the month. And we'll spend, I don't know, 10 hours a week on it. What we also need to do for status is change from plan not started, which is the default status here, to started open. And when we come down here, we will click the button to update customer service, and that'll prompt us to leave a case note. So we'll give the case note a title here, and then in the body here, we can enter that there. We have the send case note as section here. So we could send it as an Illinois WorkNet message. And if we select this, we will check the box for customers so that they can receive it as a message. And by that, I mean, let's see, let me open up another tab here and pull this over in a second. Okay, so this is logged into my WorkNet account. And when you're logged in with WorkNet, in this, you see this, next to my dashboard drop down, we have messages. So this is where, if we just open this up here, we'll see kind of a messaging system tool here. And if we select, send as Illinois WorkNet message, send message email to customer, then the case note would be, accessible in this section of their WorkNet account. You can also send it as a WorkNet message and an email. So it would show up in that, WorkNet message and also be emailed to the email address that, was entered and tied to their record in the CEJA reporting system. Or you can just select this one here, this last one, where you're just saving the case note. It gets stored in the system and the customer doesn't receive it. So we'll click add case note. And then we'll see from the system that this has been updated successfully. And just to go through some of these other tabs here, this next one, service provider. So if you are providing it, you can select my grantee organization that I'm logged into, and this account's tied to is Garvey Wind Energy. And below this, these sub bullet points here, these are the different training programs we have. So what you can do is you can select, let's see, we'll select one of these. How about Cash and Willie? And you also have the option if it's a WIOA provider who's providing this service, that can be selected, and the WIOA training providers list will populate here, and you can search through and make that selection. Or if there's a different organization, they're not your training program, they're not WIOA provider, you can select this button here and then enter in their name and address information. But we'll say this here, and so then we'll update the customer service and leave a case note. And okay, so then we see that that's been updated here. And for our post assessments, we can leave the post assessment. We have the default status, the passing score is 70%. So when we click the add post assessment, we can enter in the post assessment information. So assessment A, the score of 75, and we'll say they took the assessment today. And we'll click save and we'll add the assessment in here. And then for earn credentials, for each training service we have, you'll see the CEJA credentials and these selections here for OSHA, first aid, NCCER, and trades futures, MC3. So those will automatically appear here. And so let's say, this service, resulted in the OSHA 10-hour certification. So we'll click this radio button here, And since we've already, added these into the system, the window will pop up with this information, all populated. So, if you need to make, slight, edits, you can do so to the name, or the, credential type, along with the institution and a description of the credential. You have the option to, tweak that. But then all you need to do from here is in the drop down for our credential source, you will select the type here and then the date it was attained. And you can click save. And okay, and then we'll see right here that the credential has been added. And if we need to, make any changes to it, we can click that view details, and make those changes to the window that populates here. So that's one credential. And you can add, multiple credentials to one, service if that, turns out to be the case. But I also want to note that because over here we selected for the service provider, Cash and Willie, this is the training program. Because we made that selection and saved it, over here on Earn Credentials, the credential that was tied to that program will auto-populate here. So you can see credential, Cash and Willie certificate associated with grantees, Cash and Willie training program. So when we select that, we again, we'll just select the credential source and the date it was attained. And so when you're setting up your training programs and entering your credentials, by making that selection on that service provider tab, that will just pull those credentials that you previously added into the system right through here. So then we'll just click save. We'll see that the credential has been added. Additionally, you can enter the credential manually, and that would just be by clicking that button and then entering in the information manually here. So for name, the credential source, the date it was attained, the type of credential, the institution, and a description. And then click save. And we have our credential added here. And if we needed to remove, one of them, we would do so just by clicking this remove button and the confirmation there. Okay, and so, with the service, we've updated the status default tab. We've made our selection for service provider. We've got the score entered for the post assessment and our credentials added. So with the service, if we're done, plan completion date, we can change that to successful completion. And let's make it just set for tomorrow. So we'll click update customer service and enter case note once again. And we'll see, we should get a prompt here in a second. Let's see. Oh, I think I might have got logged out again. Nope, okay. All right, so we've updated that. And if we go back to our career plan, if we click this add activity services, that kind of a little breadcrumb trail here, we'll just go back to this page here. And we'll see for this training service, before this is planned, not started, scheduled, we have a successful completion, the start and completion dates, and a little icon over here indicating that a credential has been associated with this service here. And so I want to take a step back because I did receive the email about referrals. So I wanted to make an update to this. Okay, so if we go back to our customers progress page, we'll see a couple changes here, specifically in this career plan section here. And this first service here. So we have attention, but employability skills, but we made changes to it. So we'll click refresh status. And we'll scroll down here and see that the service has been marked as successful completion. We got our dates, and that this service is good. So off to the side here, we have attention. But when we take a look at our list of services here, this one's good. So it's, attention for these others. And this is really just to get them, provide dates for them and get them started. But going back to the referral real quick here, let's see. So the email that the individual received, that we would, they would see this here. And this is, the body of the email. Here's the name of the customer. Here's the referring organization. And, asking them to please respond within 5 days. And they'll click this link to view and submit a referral response. And in the system, this is what it will look like. They'll get a link and they'll see who it was from, this individual's organization here, the customer in question, along with their information, and the service that was requested, in this case, disability accommodation. Here's our text that we submitted with the referral. And then they can choose a status here. So from the drop down, so let's say they have completed this, and they can, enter any notes if they need to. I'll click submit, and then they'll click OK. All right, so then when we come back here if we go back to our referral tab, we refresh this. We submitted it and it was pending, but now when we refresh this, we'll see that it was accepted, and the status that the individual we referred it to selected that it was completed. We have that completed here. And if we refresh over here, we'll see that this flag has changed from yellow to green for good, because that has been completed. So apologies to for the delay in showing that referral status tool, but that is what would happen and how those flags change from yellow to green. And I also want to note, let's see here. Okay, going back to the career plan, because we need to take a look at the services that we would add in-house. So going back to our career plan, the service that we will be tying these costs to, barrier reduction service. So we'll click the pencil icon to edit. You can see here that the tabs are different. I'm not sure why post assessments is here, but it should just be the dollar value of service tab. Actually, let me go back a second. Okay, so we will, so yeah, we'll go click to edit this here, and we'll assign it to a goal, because this is one that we added manually. It wasn't directly added into a goal. So let's say complete training program, as this will help them. So we'll give it a start date, a completion date, and we'll select the status here. So we'll say started open. Just make this change here. We'll add a case note. Okay, so then it is now assigned to a goal. We'll go to our dollar value service, where we will add the cost for the service that we're providing in-house. So click add service cost, and a window will open up here where we can add this cost information. The first one drop down here is service type. And depending on what's selected here, that will update the subtype. So if we can't do a subtype first. So if we do housing assistance is the type, the service subtype will be selections applicable to housing. Similarly for transportation, these are all tied to transportation, and so forth for these other ones here. And so one of the items we said we would provide support in-house was the public transit fare cards. So we will make that selection here. And for payment method, we'll say bus pass here. And the payment start date, we'll enter that date there. And then the individual payment cost and the number of times it is offered at this cost. So if we're offering it once or however many times, we can enter that there. So then is it a cost estimate? We'll say no. And then paid by, we can make the selection here. We'll say grant. And yes or no if it's a split payment. And then these are optional, but you can also enter invoice and additional notes about this cost here. So we'll click save and we'll see that the saving cost has been added into this table here. If we need to remove it, we can by clicking this X to delete, or if we need to edit, you can click this pencil icon and that window will pop up again. But if we go back to our progress page and click this refresh button, when we scroll down here, we'll see that that cost for $200 has been added here as well. And if we need to make a change here, or if we were adding this and we're like, well, this is a cost estimate. It's not 200 exactly, but it'll be around, let's say $220. We can update that here. Refresh this over here. And that'll be updated here. So, but we also need to add another one for the support service for accommodations in-house. And we don't need to add another barrier reduction service. We can just add another cost to this one, the existing service. We'll click add service cost. And accommodations in-house. Okay, so then for this one, I believe this will be under other for service type. And then service subtype, it's going to be this accommodations to participate in training. And so then we'll fill out the remaining information here for payment method, payment start date, the individual payment cost. Say, but we're going to offer it 3 times. And it's not a cost estimate. We know it'll be that exactly. Paid by and split payment, yes or no. Okay, so we'll click save here and we'll click OK. And we'll see that the cost has been added here in this row here. So we said it was $125. We're offering it 3 times, and the system will do the math for you. So that's 375 here. And on top of 220, that brings us to 595. So we have, a summation right here. So the system will do that as well. And if you have, several costs here, you can also, filter down by doing a search here in this text just to narrow it down. Okay, so if we go back to our progress page here and click refresh status, we should see, yep, okay, so we see that 375 added here in the total here, but it's still marked as yellow. And the reason that is because the system for this first one, for the bus pass, if we click edit, we have the cost estimate, yes. And so the system is just flagging that, we need to go back in here and make sure, we need to get the exact cost. So if it turns out to be the exact cost was $218.75, we can then change this from yes to no and click save. And if we go back to our progress page and refresh, we should see a couple things. The updated cost, yep, $218.75, and that the flag is now green for good. Let's see here. Okay, so that's how we can enter costs here. We'll go back to this tab here and mark this as successful completion and give that a date and leave a case note. Okay, so then if we go back to All right, activity services here. We can see that the barrier reduction service that we added, again, is complete. We got our dates. And this icon here, the dollar sign, indicates that a service is tied to, or sorry, a cost is tied to the service. Let's see here. I don't know if we have enough time to get in the program completion follow-up, but there are a few other things I wanted to show here. Let's see. So some other tabs, we have the update log in the career plan. If we select that, that will just show the changes that have been made to this customer's profile. Since we've been making a lot of changes on this call here, we'll see the section, build a plan that's in the, career plan here. Here's the action, here's the service, the services we were updating and working on. We'll also see a timestamp of, when the change was made, along with which, member of your team who has access to the system made that change. So we have the update log there. And the review assessment tab, if you go over here. So we have Illinois WorkNet assessments. I think with the exception of Employment 101, these are all, well, let's just open up a few of these. So we have a link for the application, which we covered in the previous session. Career assessment, employment goals, that career assessment that we went over last time and I quickly filled out here. That's pulling that over here. Service needs assessment, the two that we completed, the original one, and then when we went back to update to add another assessment or another need for financial literacy, that's captured here as well. Skills and interests, these are more for the assessments that are available to the individual's WorkNet account that are outside of the CEJA reporting system. But if they complete those surveys or those assessments, I should say, their results will populate here. Employment goals. I'm not sure if this isn't necessarily for CEJA. I think this is, yeah. So we do have a note here for employment and training goal, assessment, check the program, the information entered in the customer's, intake form for application. Disability benefits estimator, that's another tool we have in WorkNet that will provide estimates there. Employment 101, we can see here, have they completed the pre-assessment, post-assessment, and what's their overall Employment 101 status. And we have a link to the Employment 101 guide. But when they do complete those assessments, they date and the assessment type, pre or post assessment, and the scores, those will populate in here as well. And then these remaining three are also self-evaluation, observational evaluation, worksite evaluation. Those are all, again, within Illinois WorkNet, that can be accessed there. But we do have at the bottom here assessments that are not available through Illinois WorkNet. So, for example, if we click this, and if they took a TABE test, for example, we can enter TABE, click search here, and then for the assessment, we can enter, how about they did the one for math. So we'll click select, and a lot of this will pre-populate, such as the name, the description, the assessment type, category, functional area. And then we can just enter in, oops. Oh, that's right. We got to look there. But we'll enter in the date here. And then the test level, we'll say medium, grade level equivalent. And we have this PDF guide here that kind of breaks down for the different functional areas and the grade level equivalent and the scale score. Um, but yeah, then we can enter in the scale score and the results, and we can just check how the assessment was delivered and click save. So if there's any assessments that they're required to take that are outside of the Illinois WorkNet or CEJA reporting system, such as TABE, CASAS, and so forth, those can be documented in here as well. And let's see if there's anything else on this progress page that I wanted to show here. Let's see. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, so another thing, yeah, the only other thing is we have this earn credential section. So looks like before I may have added a couple credentials, but the three that we added today, once credentials are added and saved to a training service, those will pull through here, and we'll see the name and the date it was attained there. Okay. And then I have one other thing I wanted to mention on intake. I don't believe so. Let me see. There's a couple other things I wanted to show that kind of outside of this here. Let's see. Okay, I don't see any questions in the chat here. But I do just want to mention a note that Michelle left. Please note that navigators will only enter information needed prior to enrollment. The hubs will enroll and complete those sections that apply. There's one other item I wanted to just kind of quickly show. Let's see, CEJA test. Was this partner engagement and management tool. I have added to the partner guide an instructional handout and a video on how to add outreach events, add organizations you're partnering with, engagements that are done with them, along with notes. And oops, in the partner guide, I'll send a link to this in the chat here. CEJA Quick Start Guide. The CEJA Quick Start Guide. And actually, let me go back one page further here. Or not JTED. On our main, partner page in WorkNet, we have our program guides for workforce hubs, climate works, and navigators. And at the top of each one, there's the one for workforce, the quick start guide, climate works quick start guide. Those are linking to this page here. And so we've added, how to add partners, outreach events, and engagements here, along with instructions, and the video to watch is right there as well. I do see a note in the chat. I'm not able to access the testing site. I was able to before. Let's see. I don't think there have been any changes to the login information. I know at times, depending, if it's, depending on the time if an update is going out, you would see if you tried to log in, it would say a message. I believe it says like service unavailable or something, but yeah, how about, but just to make sure though, and I'll add my email in the chat here. Send me an email and we can kind of iron out what might be going on there. But one last thing I wanted to mention before opening up to questions. Within all of our partner guides as well. We have a page for the technical assistance, tutorials, and videos. And that will take us to our page with, the upcoming webinars, sessions, like this morning. But we've also added the Natasha and I are going to be holding office hours here. So we have, our dates and we'll be holding them, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. To join, you can just click this Teams link here. But for, the purposes of the office hours, anyone on this call, you can come in, ask questions about the system. Um, I saw Natasha had described it kind of similar to a college instructor who has office hours outside of class time. So if you have questions or you run into any issues um, that might be a little more complicated or can't quite capture it in a help request ticket, you can join one of those sessions. Natasha and or myself will be on to help troubleshoot and answer any questions you might have. And that's a good question, Terrence. How do we get our own username and password to log into the site? So you'll need to create an account with workNet. And let me just go over to this tab here. So let me sign out. Okay. So you'll just go to illinoisworknet.com and click the sign up icon. And then you'll fill out all the fields that have a red asterisk. And once you fill out that information, and check the box to accept agreement, you can click the submit button and see if I have this bookmarked as well. Okay, excellent. So yeah, and let me actually add this to the chat too, a document of this link on how to become a partner. So let's in here. So yeah, just kind of what we went over. You'll go to illinoisworknet.com, you'll sign up, you'll receive, once you submit the information, you'll get a confirmation message. Then you will click the link to activate your account. And you can submit your organization to the Illinois WorkNet Service Finder. We have a link to instructions there, but once your account is created, send an email to info@illinoisworknet.com and then include the following information. I'd like to request a partner account, your name as it appears on your Illinois WorkNet account, name of your organization as it appears in the WorkNet Service Finder, the organization address and work phone number, and request to join the CEJA reporting system for the following programs. So for Navigator, Climate Works, or Workforce Hubs. And if you already have a WorkNet account and you just don't have access to the system yet, just the exact same thing as that last part. Send an email to info@illinoisworknet.com and provide that information, requesting an account, your name with the WorkNet account, your name, your organization, the service finder, your address and phone number, and then which program you're requesting access to. And let's see, I got another question here. Can multiple team members within our organization get a unique login, or should there only be one login per organization partner? Yes, I would encourage team members having their own unique login and account. Let's see, and there's another question here, seconding the question about expenditure reporting. Since our 9:30 quarter end reports will be due soon, will there be another chance for a refresher on how to submit those expenditure reports?
I can answer that, David. So, if you need additional training on how to submit your quarterly reports, I do believe there's a recorded video, but also please reach out to your grant manager and they can help you do that and answer any questions that you have.
Thanks, Michelle. Let's see, and then see any other questions. This has been recorded, and we will be posting it to this page, the same page where we have our upcoming webinars and office hours. So we'll be adding that to this page here as well. And yeah, with that, I think no other questions. I'll turn things over to Michelle. And if there's anything else, Michelle, you think I should cover in the last few minutes here?
Yeah, thank you so much, David. So, trying to get my camera on. If you all would like, would you all like to have a TA session, an additional TA session just on reporting expenditures? Would that be helpful? You can do a thumbs up if you all would like to see that. And I can try to get that scheduled. Or would you prefer, if you all want another TA session on that topic, give me a thumbs up or yeah. Okay, I see it in the chat. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Okay, we can certainly look into scheduling that. But in the meantime, if you need help right away, please reach out to your grant manager, but we can work on getting a TA session scheduled. And are there any other questions before we sign off? You can post in the chat or raise your hand. I don't see anything. So thank you all for attending and look for our recording. We'll send that out as soon as we can. So hope you all have a great day.